include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A warm welcome to all our viewers at a beautiful and beyond Ngala. So we're currently watching an elephant bull that's trailing quite a big herd that was moving off just to the back of this beautiful waterhole we're sitting by. So I'd like to invite all our viewers, come and jump aboard on this live safari here in the African bush. Notice this elephant is slowly moving off to the back. It might be that he could disappear in the next few minutes, but earlier on there was a herd of probably close to 100 elephants that came down to drink. And who knows, maybe if we do spend some more time around this waterhole, there's a chance that there could be some more elephants coming down to drink. So I'm Nikki here at Beyond Ngala. So I'm going to be your ranger for this afternoon, and with me on the camera is Gert. You might just notice that there is a bit of noise in the background. It sounds like a whistling sound, and that's just the wind as it is howling over the vehicle. So if you do hear that, just bear that in mind. You'll also notice on the water here, if you look carefully, you'll see all the ripples. So it's only been over the last little while that the wind started picking up. And I mean, that could affect some of the animal behavior and result in, especially if it starts cooling down, that animals will start moving into dense areas, and that's where we're going to focus our search this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tswalu Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, where we've got a marvellous-looking tawny eagle, it seems, sitting in the tree with a very full crop. You can kind of see a little distended piece underneath the head there, underneath the throat. It is the crop where the bird stores its food. Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Falconbridge, joined by BK on camera, and we are very excited to have you with us out here in Djuma, where it's not windy as it was yesterday. So, thankfully, the wind has abated our side. Yesterday, it was very uncomfortable in the wind. And it's quite funny, actually, because Ngala's not that far away. And now, in saying that, the wind has started to pick up, but it wasn't windy at all 5 minutes ago. Wonderful tawny eagle. This is one of the pale morphs. Very strong-looking beak. The wind is coming from the right-hand side, which is why it looks like its head is forming a bit of a crest there. I did see my first Wahlberg's eagle of the season this morning. They have just returned, or one of them anyway, from the north. The tawny eagle has not gone anywhere. So if you look in the center of the chest, you'll see that there's a distended little pouch there. Birds have got what we call a crop, which is basically like a big pouch underneath the throat, where they store food before it goes into the gizzard, where it gets ground up and broken, and then goes into the stomach for digestion. So you can tell when a bird has recently fed, when their crop is full, and they use that crop as well for carrying food back to the nest to chicks. Tawny eagles are very, very good hunters, very good scavengers as well, and a common resident that we find in these areas throughout the year. Quite a powerful beak. Hello, Rosalind. You want to know what the size of a tawny eagle is? I don't have the exact measurements in my head, but I'm going to check for you really quickly. It's about 1.5. I'm not going to guess, but it is bigger than our Wahlberg's eagle. The Wahlberg's is the second, is the smallest eagle that we find in the area. Then we get the lesser spotted, which comes through as well. That's a migrant, as well as the steppe eagle. Both migrants, and the tawny stays behind. It's medium-sized. Sorry for the delay. Sometimes books are better than apps. I'll check for you, Rosalind, exactly how tawny eagle. Tawny eagle, one of the medium-sized, weighing in, 1 second, weighing in at 1.5 kilograms. So, Rosalind, there is your answer. I hope that didn't take too long.
How cute is this? It's the littlest of the zebra herd that we see around Djuma.
Okay. You are back with us, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties that you experienced there. We are producing a live safari from the African wilderness, and anything can go wrong. Our tawny eagle, though, now I've got more time to talk about it. A beautiful, beautiful bird. Comes in a variety of morphs. Probably one of the most sort of diverse of the eagles, and it's one that's quite tricky to identify sometimes because of those morphs that they have. Weighing in, as I said before, 1.5. Standing at 1.82 wingspan centimeters and 73 centimeters in length. So it's not the biggest of eagles, but they are very, very common, and they do dominate this area with regards to the medium-sized raptors. And we do see them all the time. Often seen perched, waiting. The presence of a tawny eagle with food like that in the crop is often a good indication that something is around. And like the battalier eagle, tawnies are often followed when it comes to looking for dead animals.
The cute little zebra was so cute. It actually made me freeze. Can you believe it? Well, what I like about them actually lying down like this is sometimes you see them tumbling about in the road, which I think is super cute because they're actually dust bathing. And my name is Trishala with Theo on camera this afternoon, and we have a wonderful day here on Djuma at the moment. It's nice and clear with the skies very, very blue. And it's quite warm and still for once. It's only a slight breeze. At this time of year, it's very windy. And I'm glad that it's much more still today. Now, this little one almost looks like it's imitating that wildebeest. They're just having a bit of a rest. Trinity, you'd like to know if zebras can swim? Yes, they can. In fact, all mammals can.
Sorry about that, everybody. Well, we haven't left our tawny eagle too far, so let's see if we can frame it up again. Okay, sitting there. As mentioned before, that tawny eagles, together with vultures, are a very good indication that there's been something killed nearby. So I found many a lion and many a leopard with regards to tawny eagles as well as battalier eagles being around. They're very good at finding these things. If you find a flock of whiteback vultures sort of sitting in the tree, often doesn't mean that there's too much around. But if you find a flock of whiteback vultures with a battalier or with a tawny eagle, very good chance that there could be something around worth investigating. So go and have a little scratch around. You might be lucky with a predator. But our plan for this afternoon is to just check a few of the watering holes to see if any animals have come around to drink, because it has definitely warmed up a bit from a very, very cool morning, very overcast, and it's definitely going to be a little bit more of a busy afternoon.
We're just having a look here at two grey go-away birds, but if you look at the back, you might just notice the moon just faintly in the back. As we were driving down from that waterhole, we just saw this beautiful scene. We thought, let's just quickly stop, at least just to show some of our viewers. One off to the left looks like it might be sleeping, because I'm just focusing on the eyes, and the eyes are closed. The one on the right is looking around a little bit, but the one just off to the left, fast asleep. It's interesting, you don't really see birds sleeping like this, especially in the day. Oh, now it's awake. And it's also like they've gotten such a good vantage point, and it's not because they eat any insects or anything like that, but they do prefer seeds, and there's not a lot of, or the trees that are producing seeds at the moment are more closer towards the riverside. So this might just be a nice place just to rest up, nice and open. Just wanted to point out to some of our TV viewers at the moment is we have two grey-away birds here, and then just off to the left you'll notice there's a glimpse of the moon. We're not able to see it properly, but we're going to try and see if we can just adjust it so everyone can see it. There's the moon in the back with the two grey go-away birds sitting on this branch. Now you'll notice the one off to the left of our screen. So if you look at the two, you'll notice that suddenly there's a little, looks like a white patch over that bird's eye. So they've been resting up a bit. So now and again they'll close both their eyes and they'll sleep. But there's another one that landed underneath, and that's why they both are looking down to see what it was. See, there's another one just landed below where they are. But I'm not too sure what specific ones they would prefer, but I'm sure they'll prefer one that is fairly medium size and bigger. And then of course those that are nearer towards the river. I haven't really seen a grey go-away bird nest, and I'll hopefully try and see if we can read up a little bit more about it, and if we do see the nest, see if we can get the camera on the nest to have a look at it. But for now, we're going to continue and maybe go explore some of the water holes and see what other animals are going down to the water to go for a drink.
Still with these zebras, I had a question about whether zebras can swim. And yes, they can. What I was about to explain to you was that all mammals can swim as long. That was from Trinity. Thank you, Trinity, for asking. All mammals can swim as long as they walk on four legs. Now, when I say all mammals, you might think, well, how on earth does somebody record all the mammals swimming? Actually, scientists have used a program. They've created a computer program where they can put in the dimensions of an animal and see if it is buoyant enough and whether the movement of its legs allows it to swim. And yes, all of them can. The only animals that have a problem are some of the apes, us included, and giraffes, because the center of gravity for a giraffe is slightly different, and their heads and the whole position of their body, as you can imagine, is a little bit strange. And unlike other animals in the animal kingdom, their heads tend to bob forward, in which case their nostrils would be into the water. So though they would be able to swim, they can't do it because they would drown by breathing in water. You would see up in the Mara a zebra crossing the river, and you'll see as well that they can indeed swim, and very well.
Thanks, Trish. Well, an animal that can swim very, very well is a monitor lizard. And here, on top of this termite mound, we have got what looks to be a rock monitor. He's just enjoying, or she is enjoying the sunshine. Claws out, body out in the sunshine. It was a cold morning, as I said. These lizards rely on the sun's energy to warm them up, to allow them to be active. Needs to be very careful because a bird like a tawny eagle is definitely a threat for a monitor lizard, although this is a decent size one. Martial eagles, the largest eagle we find in this area, definitely are sort of, they have a bit of a preference for monitors. So these guys are very camouflaged up against the termite mound, can become a very active very, very quickly. You might hear the call of a red-crested korhaan. It was the red-crested korhaan who's this camouflage that they come hidden somewhere behind us. This monitor lizard's not too bothered by it. If anything, he's a little bit sleepy. So you could basically describe very big lizards as a massive solar panel. When the sun's out, they are charged and full of energy. Everyone's saying they love monitor lizards. Yes, he's suddenly awake. These fellas are very interesting, very powerful, and they can be, as you can see, very inactive. But when they hit the go switch, it's incredible how they can move. Penelope, you want to know if the skin is like that of a crocodile? And to be honest, I've never actually touched a monitor lizard with my hands. Oh, he's like, you want to touch my skin? I don't think it's as thick as that of a crocodile. Crocodiles have got very, very strong, powerful skin, but I'm sure they've all evolved from a very similar sort of lineage. It is a scaly skin, and it is for, as I said, a massive big solar panel, and that's what crocodiles are as well, big solar panel. So there's all sorts of capillaries working underneath, pumping the blood through the body, which is then warmed up by the solar energy, and then moving through. You touched on BK. No thanks, he says. Yeah, they are very interesting creatures. Okay, well, we're going to stay here for a moment longer and see if our little fellow decides to wake up.
Now this here is the stallion, the male of this herd, and their social structure is called a harem. So this is only one male. You can see him there with lots of red-billed oxpeckers on his back. And all the others are females. Now telling male and female in a zebra is quite difficult. Males have quite a narrow black stripe vertically between the legs and under the tail, and females have a broader black kind of stripe basically between the buttocks. But as you would have been able to see there, he showed us exactly that he is male without having to look at the buttock stripe. Now this female here looks like she may be pregnant. Now because zebras are hindgut fermenters, that means that they're not ruminants. They have a lot of gas, and so they can often look bloated, and they can often look very healthy and full because of this. But she looks particularly wide. I probably shouldn't say that too loud, don't want to offend her, but she does look pregnant. It would be lovely.
Sorry about that once again, everybody. You haven't missed anything. Our monitor lizard opened his eyes a crack, and there they are, open again. A very broad mouth. The water monitor's got a bit of a narrower face, a longer snout. You can hear that red-crested korhaan once again. The monitor lizard's also got a bit of a yellowish tinge to the scales and a little bit of a longer tail. They are difficult to identify sometimes, the differences, but there definitely are the differences in the length of the nose and the slenderness of the body. Well, this monitor lizard is doing what so many of our animals love to do out here. Something we're looking for today is a leopard perched precariously on top of a termite mound, surveying its territory. Hello everybody, what a wonderful fellow we have over here. And if you all ever remember the scenes with David Gitu when he was here, Gigi from the Mara, when he was here, and he spent that time with some monitor lizards at Chitwa that were mating. It's probably one of the funniest episodes I think we've ever produced. But this fellow's not going to get up to too much, I don't think. You see how sharp those claws are. Very good climbers. Very good diggers as well. But right now he's not thinking about too much. Hello everybody, welcome back to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands with the most active rock monitor in the whole world. He is just taking it very easy on his throne. Had a very long day it seems. That is a very interesting name from somebody with the name You Like My Head. They want to know, do monitor lizards get ticks, parasites like ticks? I've never seen one, to be honest with you. And I don't know if ticks are an organism that actually sucks blood from cold-blooded animals. Lizards are cold-blooded, so I don't know. I don't think there is such a thing as a cold-blooded tick. But I could be wrong. He's going, what did you say? I've never seen a parasite on a monitor lizard, but that doesn't mean that they don't get them. They might be... Oh, he's going to move. Watch out, everybody. Look at the tongue is flicking. They definitely have internal parasites, that's for sure. But I've never seen one on the external parts of the body. You see that tongue flicking forward, a typical lizard, reptilian-like sort of action. Oh, he's just going to spread himself out more for the sun. The sun's moved, you see. Probably been lying like that for hours. Oh, there we go. Slow movements mean that if there was a bird of prey high in the sky trying to spot him, might not have seen his movement with that camouflage. But the flicking of the tongue, we've all seen it. Reptiles, they taste the air and they bring in whatever the flavor of the air is. They bring it into their mouth. It goes into their nasal cavities and into an organ of Jacobson in the head, which communicates an enormous amount of information. They can actually taste their way around their environment, pick up on pheromones, pick up on eggs or on a nest perhaps. Huge amounts of stimulus or stimuli brought in via the tongue. And a tail that is very, very powerful. They have the ability to actually flick that tail very hard if something tries to grab them. And they can actually hit something extremely powerfully with that, combined with very sharp teeth and extremely potent claws. It's a decent-sized fellow. They get a little bit bigger than that, but not much bigger. Crafty sloth, I would say that it's probably about a meter, almost a meter in length. It's hard to say from this distance without me going up and actually physically measuring. But the termite mound on the top is probably about 2 meters in diameter. So I'd say he's about a meter, maybe just over. Somewhere around there. Decent sized fellow. He's gone back to sleep. He didn't quite enjoy my information about his tail and claws and teeth. You see the ear openings on the side of the head. Internal ears. Pick up on a lot of vibration, reptiles. That wind is slowly starting to pick up. Okay, so we're going to leave our little monitor lizard here, our decent sized monitor, and carry on. Go and check our watering hole around the corner, see if any animals have come down to drink. Definitely has, from this morning, as I said, the temperature has increased. Don't run away, fellow. Go down to our watering hole around the corner called Tree House. See if we can maybe pick up on the Wahlberg's eagle that we found there this morning.
Good afternoon. I know we're just joining you quite late, but we are sitting here at Pridelands looking at this beautiful tree because it has got bright green leaves, which none of the other trees really have at this time of the year. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is, as always, Sebastian Romby, and we are really happy to be out here, even though the animals are not playing their part. But like I said, we've got this beautiful big tree. This is called a torchwood tree. That is the common name. The genus is Anites. even call it a green thorn. But these trees have got various, well, common names. Most of the plants do. So the reason why I thought we'd stop and have a look at this tree is, like I said, because it has got nice green leaves, and because it's the peak of dry season, I reckon that this tree might be in a little bit of trouble from the elephants, as they are looking for anything with greenery. But the other thing that we've been seeing the elephants do is banging their heads quite abruptly against the trunk of the tree, so basically shaking it, and that's because this tree has just had fruit on it. That is very, very tasty and very full of sugar. So the monkeys and some bird species, but especially the elephants during the drier periods here in South Africa, will very much be enjoying that. But it's very useful for us as well. Sometimes what you'll see is the porcupines actually eating the bottom bark of the tree, but I can't see any of that evidence on this particular one, although there are lots of porcupines that run around here. And then another really cool thing is that the seed of the fruit holds a fair amount of oil to it, and you can burn it. And that's where one of the common names, the torchwood tree, comes from, which is really, really cool. But I thought that if we came here, maybe we'd see some bird life, maybe some African green pigeons, or I don't know, some other birds, maybe some barbets up here that feed on fruit. But unfortunately, there aren't any here today. So we will continue our search to the next watering hole, hoping for some elephants.
Well, we've been successful on our way to the watering hole. We came across a herd of wildebeest and zebra, possibly the same herd Tswalu was looking at a little while ago. And I suppose it doesn't seem as windy today as it does compared to yesterday, but it is windy. But yesterday was extremely windy and uncomfortable, and the behavior of these animals is indicating the wind is also not very favorable for them. This is what many of our animal species will do in the wind: hang out in groups, mixed species groups as well, and in the open. A lovely family of wildebeest and zebra. They've probably been down to the water already, or they're making their way there. It's hard to say at the moment without much movement. Don't forget, everybody, we are live and interactive. We'd love to hear you. Please throw through your questions and comments to #WildEarth. So wonderful to see this mixed species group. We don't get to see zebra every day on Djuma. The last little while it's becoming more and more, well, they're more available at the moment. I think there's been a bit of burning going on. Our boundary was burnt in preparation for these windy days and the high fire index that comes with August. And zebras love moving into burnt patches. And there's an impala in front. It looks like the zebras might go towards the right. If they do, it will take us down to Treehouse Watering Hole, which is exactly where we were headed. So we'll probably stay with these animals for a little while longer and see what they get up to. Because, I mean, what a wonderful scene with both of these species in the open. Hello, everybody. What a wonderful scene here on Djuma. Look at how our zebra are looking at the herd of impala moving and going, "What are you fellows doing?" And the impala going, "Hey, we like to hang out in the open too. It's not just you." It's almost like our own mini migration here, everybody. The zebra's in front, wildebeest behind. Wildebeest look a little sadder than them with their heads held low. Shame, wildies. What have you been up to? still perplexes me with these animals, wildebeest and impala. I took some photos yesterday of impala. They have the need to lick their back. You just wonder, what is it all about? Licking right up onto the top of their rump. Ooh, the zebras are going right, PK. That's where we want them to go. I'm going to go to Treehouse Dam. They're just checking, asking the impalas with some visual cues. Did you see anything that side? Lots of communication going on. Let me move up big so that we can get this. 30 seconds, everybody. Let's just move up. Welcome back live, everybody, to Djuma Private Game Reserve, where you feel like you might be looking at a mini version of the migration, but in fact you are not. This is just a small group of wildebeest and zebra, seemingly slowly on their way towards the watering hole. They're just a bit tentative about walking into the thickets, and the wildebeest are more than happy to let the zebra go first. That's just how nice they are. You go first, zebra. You clear the way. The zebra are in a group where there's a stallion who looks after his females, and the wildebeest, basically the male, is hanging around, and females move in and out of his territory. Oh, those impala are sprinting down the road there. Let's give us a moment. Let's listen out. If we hear them alarm calling, they might just have got a bit spooked. If we hear alarm calls, we're going to go and have a look. When it's windy like this, although it doesn't seem to be as windy today because of yesterday's wind, it's still very, very edgy for many animals, and so it's a great opportunity for predators to be on the hunt.
So earlier on, when we were looking at those other birds, I only realized afterwards that I said a completely different name to what I was thinking. It was the grey go-away bird, just to clear out any confusion. But just to let all our viewers know what we're doing at the moment is, so where we saw those lions earlier on, we know that they are going to be in that area, and because it's nice and warm, they're not going to be moving anywhere pretty soon. So maybe later on we'll go past where they are. However, a few days ago, we saw a pack of wild dogs in this area that we are heading into now. Now, what we're hoping for is, because it is slowly starting to cool down, it's near one of the big water holes, and also there hasn't been any lions around. So often if lions move into an area, the wild dogs tend to move out of it, especially if there's a lot of young pups around. So we are hoping that this afternoon we can head into that area, and we don't know, with them they can move quite a bit of distance, but you just never know if we can possibly see them this afternoon. Matt, in order to become a game ranger, so there's a lot of ways in order to do it, but you need to be at least 21 years of age. Now, because of that, you'll be able to get what is called a PDP, so a public driver's permit, in order to take people onto a vehicle, even guide people. And then, depending on what you are aiming for, if you just want to be a ranger guiding on a vehicle, you'll have to get a qualification and also register with the tourist department in order to do so. But then a lot of people will go through different organizations. The one well-known one is called FAGASA, the Field Guiding Association of South Africa, and via them being able to do a qualification which enables you to get certain what is referred to as NQF points. So that is basically just a organization that allows you to get a certain level of experience in order to then apply to become a ranger within an area. But it all depends. I mean, if you then decide to do a walking qualification, you'll have to spend some time on foot and gain that experience and do your dangerous animal encounters, and also via that register all those qualifications. So there's it depends on exactly what you are aiming to do, but if you are looking at something like conservation, There's a lot of universities that focus on different subjects. I mean, the one that I did was, or different courses, the one I did was a nature conservation diploma through the University of South Africa. And I did it correspond. So I was actually working and doing the diploma and then having to do practicals in between. So there's different universities you can do, different organizations in order to grow into that field of study. So watch, there's this area that we are moving into now is starting to get denser and denser because we are getting to one of the drainage lines. So we're going to carefully move through this area and eventually we'll head down to that big water hole where we're going to start looking out for these wild dogs.
Wild dogs, that's exciting and something that I haven't seen for quite some time. We've always keeping our eyes and ears out and listening for wild dogs, but no luck just so far. But I found some birds just flying ahead of us. Hopefully they're going to stay, but you never know with these winged creatures. Don't you fly, Hornbill. You sit right... No. Classic. Okay, it flew away. Maybe we can still see it. It's a little bit far now, but it is a southern red-billed to the left a little bit. There we go, got him. Southern red-billed hornbill. Cleaning its beak. Yes, thank you. We would have appreciated the view if you'd sat a little bit closer, but this is fine, I suppose. You can just see its sort of guttural region moving a little bit. I don't think you'll be able to hear its call, but it's sort of going... which is quite typical. Hornbills are very chatty birds. We get lots of different species of them here. But normally there's another one, or a small group of them together. Where's your mate? Don't have one? Probably because you don't sing very well. But there we go, just giving itself a bit of a preen now. And is flying with a group of other birds, but they've given us the slip. There were some green wood hoopoes. I saw a crested barbet briefly. Oh, flying straight down onto the ground. There it is, just on the right-hand side. Got him. And now I'm behind the branch, but if we wait for just a moment, we should see it hopping around, because this is where these birds eat. So you get so many different types of birds and they eat in different ways. So some might fly in the sky and catch their food on the wing. However, that's not the case for the hornbill. They catch everything normally on the ground, or if it's on a tree, they might pluck it from a branch or stem that it's sitting on. But at this time of the year, there are plenty ants and termites, which make up a huge part of their diet, and the occasional grasshopper. But in the summer months, oh my goodness, they can eat almost anything, from spiders to small reptiles, sometimes even little mammals, and all sorts of other wonderful things. And every now and then, they'll also dabble in a bit of fruit.
Drive. There's quite a few impala around at the moment, so just wanted to point out there's some trees in the background. So where this impala is moving to, the one that it's moving just behind, it's called the Tswalu tree. Now, often when you get closer towards these drainage systems, you find a lot of the Tswalu trees, and especially in a survival situation, you can use the leaves of that tree. All this, you'll see the bigger ones here off to the right. You can actually use the leaves of these trees in order to create a poison if you needed to use that for any other reason. But it's also very important that if you do travel within South Africa, is not to make any fire with this wood, or any open fire and put any meat or anything on it, because of that toxin within it. It can really have a bad effect on you. But look at the bark. The bark has this very dark, lightish color. So you'll see there's like a dark color and then a few strands of this white patches in between, but it's a very coarse bark. And then often the leaves, and this time of the year, turns this reddish color before it starts falling off. Can't really see a lot of the red at the moment, but if we do see some, we'll definitely stop and have another look. But for now, these impala are moving off slowly. So while they're moving on, let's carry on towards that water hole. Who knows? maybe we can get another glimpse of these impala, because the sun is just so nice, especially on this ram right in front of us here. You can even see the differences in colors. So let's try and see if we can have a go at this ram off to the right. So notice when he turns, like the horn is, it looks like it has this dirty color at the base, but then when you look towards the tips, it has these shiny bits.
Hello, everybody. We got some lions here for you. Sorry you have not been out there until now. And my name is David, and with me on the camera this afternoon is Bungay. And we got 3 lions here for you. We've got a pair of lions. We'll find out who they are. We just want to investigate. Exactly. Jumbo, one more time, and hello, welcome to the lions here of the Masai Mara. This is a pride that I want to investigate who they are, because they're laying in the grass and they're blending in very, very well. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David, and on camera with me is Bungay, and we're very happy to host you this afternoon. And let's first go to those lions and find out who they are. Remember, we're coming to live from the Masai Mara, and should you have any questions or comments, please send them through. And as usual, you can tweet #WildEarth. Now, that's one big lady there, and my guess is this is what we call the river pride. My guess is this is the river pride. There are 2 females here and 1 youngster. Because the youngster I'm talking about there is a sub-adult male. And this pride is always much bigger than this. So could have split at one point. That happens once in a while. A rather breezy afternoon here in the Mara, but quite warm. 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is typical of most cats. Having a snooze is normal. And I think the temperatures now, they're very ideal, and everybody's very excited to see lions. I was out this morning. I didn't see a single lion as much as I saw some topi crossing the river. But it's wonderful just to see some lions around here. Now look at the female. She's on top of a little turban mound, unlike the youngster male there. And ideally that they will do to look around their surrounding. Quite raised. Strange, it's pretty warm, but I don't see her panting. If you look at her, she looks quite calm, relaxed. Maybe she's benefiting from the wind that's blowing and helping to cool off. Otherwise, when it's very warm, most cats outside, like now, you'd have seen her panting and panting. She takes a different position. Now, I do not know where the other one is, but I'm sure Bunge is trying to show you either the sister, that's the second female that I was talking about. So it's 2 females here and that 1 youngster of the river pride. We'll wait a few more minutes and see if they're going to stand up, and we might see them differently.
after those impala, we came past a big open area, and there's a hyena that's been moving through this area. You can actually see the impala in the back, but it's interesting that the hyena is moving and picking up its head the whole time to sniff. Now, often, if we are looking for wild dogs or possibly even leopard, it is a good idea to follow a hyena, because they often, if there is a scent, they'll lead us straight towards it. You can see the impala in the back. They're not too fussed with this hyena, because they know with it being by itself and constantly moving or moving parallel to them instead of going straight towards them, they don't see it as any form of danger. So let's just go a little bit forward, see if we can follow this hyena for the next little while. So when I say doesn't see it as danger, just because of his body language moving away and not directly at them, they'll still keep their eyes on that hyena, because he is capable of catching one of those. Just want to stop like this. It might be quite a hard angle, but look at that hyena's ears, and look at how he is lifting up his head in order to test the wind. I just want to scan these trees and just see if there's any sign of a carcass maybe up in the tree, or maybe even any noise from the wild dogs, if they are around in this area. I haven't seen anything yet, but where he is now is that drainage line we were talking about earlier. Now, if there is a leopard that made a kill, often they'll do it near the drainage lines, because there's a lot of cover, big trees, in order to pull up that kill and put it into the tree.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Masai Mara. And here we have a mixture of eland and zebra. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Big James. This afternoon we're already out here to show you the beautiful animals we have here in the Masai Mara. Remember to talk to us on hashtag Wild Earth. Questions and comments are very welcome. Here we have two species of grazers, zebra and eland. Yeah, it's always nice to see the eland this close, because they're very, very shy. Remember, this is one of our largest antelopes that we get here, and this looks like a very big breeding herd. Yeah, is that a male? Can I see? No, it's not a male, that's a female also, but she's very, very big. Obviously listening to me, looking at me, you know, hoping that I don't get out of the vehicle. Sugar, sorry, I had sugar. When will the wildebeest and zebra give birth? When will the wildebeest and zebra give birth? Zebra give birth year-round. They don't have a specific season. You always, see a young one every now and then. For the wildebeest, they give birth in February, March. Those are the months that they give birth. And you usually see lots of brown ones, really, really cute. They're usually brown in color, but they develop the black color quite quickly. Okay, over here we have a scratching session going on. And usually an itch develops as a result of an itching object being found. There is one on the forehead and there is one on the tummy. So this is quite a serious issue here. Okay, we're gonna stretch our backside on the one to the right. Okay, is he gonna do it? Okay, now trying to reposition. Now I think it stopped.
Welcome back to June in the South Africa, where we anticipated animals coming down to drink, and well, we got it right. Impalas, zebras, our whole family of kudu emerging out of the woodwork, coming down to drink. Now, animals will often do this as a unit. The more of them that come down, the less chance it is that they individually will be picked off by a predator. You'll see how tentative they are coming down. Kudu, who are for the most part extremely camouflaged, stand out like thumbs in the open. And look how they'll all go very close to each other there. Even though we have not seen a crocodile in water.
Well, being, a hot afternoon, many of the animals out here will be having a drink, but our lions are not drinking. Most likely they could have had a drink much earlier. So just move a little closer to them, but keeping a good distance, respecting their space. And you can tell how calm or comfortable they are by just taking it easy. Eyes opened on this one particular female. And behind them, those bushes, we call them the orange-leafed crotons. And they have learned with time that these little bushes here are insect repellent. Basically, we do not get any insects or some types of parasites coming to these particular bushes. And lions and most cats have learned if they go close to those bushes, they're fine, will not have any flies or any other insects disturbing them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time, we are sorry to say we could be saying goodbye after such a wonderful afternoon, and we'll always thank you so very much for your questions, for your comments, and remember, we'll be joining you again tomorrow, same time, 1600 hours East African time, or 1500 hours Central African time. Well, on behalf of everybody, both here in East Africa and in South Africa, we are saying very many thanks. And remember, for the other viewers, we shall continue with the show. Many thanks, stay well, and goodbye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And the show continues, the excitement continues, and we still have the same pride we were watching earlier. And if anybody might have missed this pride before, this is called the River Pride. And you give us lots of joy by asking us questions or by sending comments. And as usual, you can tweet. You can do that by tweeting #WorldEarth. Now, she has gone to a deeper sleep than before, but if you look carefully, she got one of the eyes open slightly. I think she's kind of half asleep, or the eyes closed halfway. But because it's rather windy where we are, every few seconds maybe, or minutes, she'll have to put her head up and look. Either times to sniff something in the air, or maybe just looking. Because sometimes they may not be able to read the wind very well, because they might pick it up as some prey that's moving, and they will need to know what it is. And once she confirms it's not much happening, back to her nap. Of course, that's a very good question. I'd like to know what the lions will eat when the migration is gone. Now, it's only the wildebeest and the zebras that will migrate. But other big animals like the elands that we were just seeing earlier, or giraffes, or buffaloes, even elephants, even rhinos and other antelope remain. But it's not 100% of the wildebeest and the zebras gone. We've got a few numbers that remain, but they're always very difficult to catch at that time because they're few and spread out. So the lions in general are left hunting the big game, and I'm talking about elands, or buffaloes, or giraffes. That's what they feed on before the migration is back. They'll take any opportunity of any prey that may come close to them. We have seen them trying to hunt pangolins, hedgehogs, small birds or big birds, including ostriches, and of course other animals that don't migrate like the hippopotamus. We have seen even lions going for hippos. It's only that time around is a bit tight for them in terms of hunting. They have to lay better strategies. They have to lay, more ambush and more styles, more skills in hunting. Unlike during the migration, where, for example, you might see a pride hunting 3 wildebeest in a day, or 2 zebras in a day. Eat one and just leave the other. Quite a snooze she got. And of course enjoying the sun, because you still have the sun out, which is important to all these animals out here. The last 3 afternoons we have had massive rains in the Masai Mara, and I think she knows she better take the better part and, absorb as much solar energy as possible. If it's going to rain, it should be quite warm, because she's gonna keep that heat in her body, plus the other sister, hopefully, and the other youngster male. Hello there, Simba. Simba is the local word here in East Africa for a lion. And apparently, male or female will be called Simba, unlike a lioness and a lion. Now, I haven't seen any fully grown male around here, and the area we are in is close to an area that we call marsh area, not very far from the Mara River. And if there could be a coalition here, it would be the Triangle Boys. Of late, we have been seeing 2 of what used to be 3, and apparently one of them that we call Fang must have had some fights, because the time we have had migration, or before the migration came, there are always so many dynamics of lion coalitions. And we've got a feeling we have some new coalition that came in this area, and they fought the Triangle Boys. And one of them have a very bad injury on one eye and the tooth. And what's happening now, we have only one that we call Halftail that looks pretty good and is in charge of what is happening here. Now, we're going to leave these lions here because a friend of mine had told me he had seen a kill on top of a tree. Who knows what is on in that bush or near that kill.
Good afternoon, Tswalu family. It is very, very lucky to have you with us this afternoon, especially after we've had some technical difficulties. My name is Moritz. I'm very happy to be joining you for the first time, and we are just enjoying the view at the moment. It is a stunner of a view here in the Coronaberg on Tswalu, and another beautiful afternoon, beautiful temperature, a little bit of a breeze, and we don't really have plans for us for this afternoon. We're gonna bumble about, see what the bush has to offer, and possibly bump into some lions. We're in a good area for a pride with some small cubs, about 3 months old, so we'll see where they're heading and where they're going, and just another stunning afternoon. Always epic to start the day. Thank you guys. Very happy to be with you. So my name is Moritz Senekal. For those of you who can't pronounce my name, I know it's a difficult one, so just Mo is the easiest guy. I am originally from the Lowveld, so I grew up in the Waterberg area, about 2 hours north of Johannesburg, and been the farm boy in that area for, my entire life. Started studying pharmacy after school, and the bush is in my bones, so that wasn't meant for me. Switched over to field guiding and haven't looked a day back since. Now, I've been part of the Tswalu family for just over a year and loving every moment of it. We're currently worried a little bit because we've myself and a couple of the other Tswalu guides, just finished our specialist field guide exams. So we're all holding thumbs for the results to come through. So I would love if you guys hold it with us, but we'll only know that in about 4 weeks' time. But lovely to have you with us, and I'm excited for the journey that lies ahead with myself and the Tswalu team, and looking forward to having some great safaris with you.
Something that we all look forward to is having good conversations, and I typically have them with elephants, the owners of these rather large feet and that very inquisitive trunk. Hello, elephant. We have not got any breeding herds. I think that they have all left us, sadly, so we're just stuck with the boys. I shouldn't say stuck with the boys, but look at those toes, hey, Seb? Somebody's in need of a manicure. I shouldn't talk, but anyway. 2 young elephant bulls. I don't know what they're doing. They've just had a drink at Ndlovu Dam. Unfortunately, we missed it. I think that there might be some shoving about to take place. The fella on the right has said, I am the king of the castle, and you're the dirty rascal to the one at the bottom. And yes, Mr. on the left is not impressed with that comment, so now they will try and strangle one another with their trunks. No, I'm joking. That's not what they're doing. This is very typical greeting of elephants, but it will end in one pushing the other, most likely, because that's what we know adolescent bulls do. They're the one on the right putting on the handbrake, saying, no, not quite, thank you very much. He surely should have the upper hand, being so high up. Push that buddy down onto the ground. No, you just hold on to his trunk nice and tight. I love this because they're quite gentle with one another. Well, for now, I say this, but someone might end up crying or trumpeting. And of course, they go to the most dangerous spot to push and shove one another, on the narrow dam wall where there's all sorts of logs. Although we've seen elephants and they're quite capable on their feet, so I don't think anyone's going to tumble down to the ground. But I do like that this trunk lock that they keep going into is quite fascinating. They're very comical. Oh, thank you, Katie. I also enjoy my own commentary. I keep myself entertained all the time. I can also hear whooping. Something exciting must be happening in camp with the students that have got them very riled up, just like these elephants. There are lots of young adolescent men on various training courses at the moment in camp, so I'm sure that they're having a lot of fun. Luckily, we don't see too much pushing and shoving. Well, that's one way to defeat your enemy, hey? A swift swoop with the bottom. Try to say that 10 times and over. I'm so sorry. Now the elephants are, of course, hiding behind the leadwood. Can you please play where we can see you? I love this. Seb, I would like to try and roll forward. Do you agree? Yes. It's going to move forward. I'm just doing this. Look, just literally started and going to go, oh no, go forward. No, we should be able to see better. There we go. That's not fair. You can't hide behind a big tree like that. Come on. Come out and face your opponent. Let's have an even match, boys. I should have laid out the law before they started. Hey, I suppose it's my fault, and now they can play dirty, which elephants absolutely love to do. There's lots of laughter that I'm sure you heard from the students. They must be having fun. I think they're going out on game drive now, or practicing for their assessments. Shall we invite them over and let one of the new students wanting to become a field guide narrate this sighting? They'd probably be a lot more professional. One of the elephants is definitely getting annoyed with the other because you can hear some gentle rumbles every now and then, as if to say, hey, don't push too hard. Watch where those tusks go. Well, that's what I'd be saying anyways. Look at them fighting up the slope now. That's a sure test of strength right there. He's going to go up and over the other side if he's not careful. Seems like it's getting a little bit more serious now. One of these elephants is very competitive and doesn't like to lose. And if it was a girl, it would be named Taylor. But it's not. Sebastian, are you very competitive? You're not that competitive, eh? You used to be. Did you grow out of it? Yeah. Now you've got to let your daughters win all the time. And your wife, eh? Gentleman. Seb says he's a gentleman. Okay. No, he is. Sebastian is 100% a gentleman, unlike these two elephant bulls. Although they've been very kind to us. There they go. Unfortunately, they're about to disappear over the dam wall. What fun to watch two elephant bulls push and shove one another.
We're having a look at what looks like a female giraffe that's picking away at that tree. Earlier on, it looked like she was chewing a bone. Now, sometimes in the wintertime, we find that giraffes will chew bones in order to get the phosphorus as well as the calcium out of the bones. Yeah, she's just cleaning her mouth with that long tongue of hers. What I enjoy about a giraffe sometimes, especially if you watch them feeding for a while, is now and again they'll wrap their tongue around the branch, almost like lick it into their mouth and then pull the leaves off. But sometimes they'll maneuver their lip as an elephant would use its trunk in order to pick some of those leaves, just to angle it into the mouth and then strip it off. Now, the direction she's staring in, there's another giraffe at the back, but you can't see it at the moment because of all the trees. But notice that very long tongue. I wonder what she's doing. Maybe just cleaning the outside of her lip. Maybe there's an itch on the tongue. That's incredible to watch. It almost looks like the tongue is trying to escape the mouth and the giraffe just keeps pulling it back in. And I wonder if it was an itch, if she might have just had a bit of an itch towards the back and trying to just scratch it. Dingo, but I agree, it looked like the giraffe had a snake in its mouth as it was trying to move, like get away. But that's incredible. You don't often see that. I mean, it's pretty nice to be able to watch it. Like sometimes you'll do see the tongue as they stretch out to wrap it around a branch to strip the leaves off. You might just see when they do chew a bone. But to see it like this, let's see if she, after like feeding again, if she'll do the same or follow the same behavior. Or is she just going to be focusing now on just getting a meal? Looks like she has an itch behind her head. Oh, there's the tongue again. What's interesting is that tree it's quite far to see what it is. It either could be a bush willow or maybe even a timbuti tree, but it's hard to see. I can't really see the leaves or the tree or the color of some of the features. Jacqueline, I'm not too sure why it would be black and not a different color. I'm not too sure if there's any scientific reason behind it or if it's just has a black tongue. But what I'll try and do is do a bit more research on that. And hopefully if we do see that again, be able to share. But I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if some of our viewers know the answer to that, I would love to know. Maybe the black could be because, or the color could be because of all the blood within the tongue. I'm not too sure. That's why I'll go and find out and get back to you. But notice those long eyelashes, long beautiful eyelashes, every girl's dream. Now, imagine also if this giraffe is feeding into, like in a tree where there's quite a lot of thorns or maybe sharp branches, how it has to maneuver its head around it. And then those long eyelashes would then help to feel if there's any sharp object near the eye and protect her eye.
We have Sabui. There she is. Affirmative, Obs. I've got a visual now. She's heading towards the fire break. So she's on the southern part of our boundary. And like I said, she's moving towards the fire break, so she will be out of the property very soon, hopefully. She will stick around for a little bit longer. Let's just see if I move back a tad. Should be able to see some rosettes through there. There we go. Look at that. She's just crouched down. Did you hear the alarm call? There we go. It is on. She crouched down so quickly. Actually not looking. Yeah, she's just in front of your vehicle and a little to the left. You'll see her now?
I can speak to the visual.
The impalas are actually looking in a different direction, but they know there's a leopard around. Now she's moving further south again. Station, she's heading back towards the fire break. Alright. Yay! I feel like we haven't seen a leopard in a while. I'm so glad. I've been feeling for spots for a while. I'm so happy I could share that with you. Alright, I'm going to try and get a bit of visual of her so we can see her beautiful face.
Well, good luck, Trushala, number one, and number two, very well done for having spotted a leopard. And then I hope the director in the final control to the cast will tell Trushala I got her favorite animal, which also apparently happened to be my favorite animal, elephants, with a very small, tiny calf in between those two cows. And that's a wonderful, wonderful, cute calf there. And not sure she is eating or just playing with sticks or grass or anything else she can pick from the ground. Maybe looking at the mother and the auntie what they're doing. And I'm like, I'm going to do the same. She got a long way before she starts eating grass. Small herd here of about, 5, 6, 7 elephants. Now, when you have a lot of food like this, once in a while we have seen Ellies coming together when there's a lot to eat. What happened to the baby there? Look at the baby under the belly of the mother. Very clever. And notice the mother just froze there. She didn't move. Don't hurt the baby. Very intelligent animals. Definitely she knows where the baby is. Just being playful. And my guess, by virtue of her very young age, that's why we have 2 females with her. Maybe a mother and an auntie. These huge animals are very intelligent. They always perplex me by the way they behave. I mean, they are social structure is very well planned, that maybe the mother would know, or could be a bigger sister, I don't know. But having two of them here is basically for one reason. We have a very tiny calf here. We do not want to take any chances because, I mean, some predators like wild dogs and lions have been known to go for baby elephants. It's not normal, but once in a while, that happens. I'm very convinced that should be the mother. And how wonderful to see this baby in such great light, striding like the mother. And hopefully one day she'll take her shoes, majestically walking in the Mara Savannah. If you carefully look, there's some green reeds in front of them. And this is one area that we call the marsh area. But apparently, it looks very dry to me. We don't know whether you have, or we're going to change that name. It has always been wet all around the year, but as far as you can see from here, it looks pretty dry. Most of the plants that grows in there, like reeds, are very unpalatable. And even when you see elephants in there, let's go to have a quick look to Honey Badger.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to Tswalu Private Game Reserve here in Sabi-Saint. Have a beautiful afternoon, a little bit warmer, died down the wind, we're down a drainage line, so we just pick up a little bit of a beautiful sighting of two honey badger which they just vanished into the wood. Just going to try maybe stick around on the other side, see if we find them again. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew, BK behind the camera. Thank you. Just going to go around and see if we find them again. Honey badgers are pretty, but sometimes you do have a chance just them crossing the road, or just like we did there in the drainage line, just see them together. It was such an amazing thing, but unfortunately they were a little shy, so they wouldn't stick around for us. Just off-road. See if we'll find him again. And then one of the animals that they stick around and cool. So we'll they sometimes get active also during the day, also at night. So it's man. All right, this is the just pick up this crop here as we look around. Just to find a little bit of a scrub here as we drive into the wood. So we're just gonna keep looking in this area, see if we can come luck with the honey badger again.
Woo for Andrew. Woohoo! Badges. Just to fill up the time between the leopard. How lucky are we?
Are there any other vehicles in
Alright, we're making it out towards the southern boundary. Hopefully we're going to get a better view of us all over the place.
Trish, don't give up, don't give up. Keep trying, because I'll be lying if I say I've been looking for the elephants just like you know. Mine have been out there, and look at the baby now. Now, this is the whole herd put together. It's only one of them that's behind, but just look at the positioning of that calf. Being the only calf and pretty young, I would just guess maybe it could be a month or two. She has been placed right in the middle of the herd. I'm trying to imagine where they could be going, knowing that the marsh is very dry. And anytime we've seen the elephants come into the marsh, they'll come for a very quick drink and eat anything different apart from the reeds that I was saying are not very palatable. But I'm looking at the angle that they're facing, because they're facing more of northwest-ish, where they could be heading to, no idea. But you can tell from the area they are, not much grass there. Cheetah, you're asking what is elephant in my local language. My local language, I'm sure you know, is Swahili, and elephant has two names. One is Ndovu, Ndovu, and the other one is Tembo, Tembo. But Cheetah, just to let you know, Tembo also means wine, or some kind of, wine basically, because our local language, Swahili, is a very rich language, just like Spanish. You might get one word meaning two different things. So Ndovu is good. To me, Tembo is better because it also means wine. Not sure whether you can see very well, but between the herd and the elephant on the left, Bungay, not sure we can see some little birds on the ground there. Excellent, many thanks. Now, we got a big black bird there, and that's a ground hornbill. It's one of the largest hornbills that we got in East Africa, or rather Africa. It's called the southern ground hornbill. Huge black bird. Where are you running away? Is it the elephant, or are you just chasing something to eat? They've been known to have very strong beaks. They'll break shells of terrapins, turtles, tortoises with their very strong beaks. They're like chisels. Quite vulnerable at the moment, these hornbills. Their numbers, unfortunately, have been going down. They've been either being hunted, number one, or they have been losing their habitat because of logging. They use very huge trees to make their nest. I mean, definitely that elephant is not very happy with them. She just swung her trunk. Get out of here, please. Let's see what happens there. Oh, having a drink. Nice. Yeah, this is where most likely these elephants are going. I don't think all of them were thirsty, or maybe they could be looking for a different water point with maybe more water where they could drink together. And in the background there, you can see so many cattle egrets in the air flying. David, you like to know that baby elephants hold their mother's tails. What I've seen David before, and I'm very happy that we share a wonderful name, I have seen them using the trunk, just rolling the tail with your trunks, and that's only when they're being playful. But holding for long, I highly doubt, because they may never understand what that is. But once in a while, David, I've seen, little baby calves of elephants just rolling their trunks on the tails, and more so of their mothers. Still trying to investigate where they could be going, because now they have turned towards the marsh, and this area normally is green with very long reeds growing and lots of water. But I'm sure they're looking for something else. Definitely not the reeds. They're feeding on grass here. And on a closer look, there could have been some fire here. I don't know when, but this is not the way I know this area. Because if you look on the tall elephant grass there, it looks a little burnt. And I've not ventured in this area for quite some time, so there could be that possibility. Keep walking, elephants, keep marching. These are animals that will keep eating for very, very many hours, sometimes 15, 18 hours in a day, just to keep their physiology. Huge bodies that has to be taken care of by a lot of vegetation, be it grass, leaves, twigs, tree barks, seeds, fruit, anything green they can catch or they can bring down, that's what they'll feed on. And then they'll top that with some water. Now, showing with those egrets in the background, they cannot settle down and eat. Either they're trying to dry up or keeping their wings and muscles in shape. Or there could be some other herbivores there which maybe are moving, because we have known the cattle egrets to associate themselves with herbivores, especially when they are feeding or when the herbivores are moving. They'll always be able to catch some insects. Small Thompson gazelle between the herd and the one elephant. It's a Thompson gazelle, quite a distance. I'm sure there's some short, nutritious grass here for the tummy. We haven't been seeing so many of these Thompson gazelles, and also that explains why we haven't been seeing as many cheetahs at the same time. But to me, this is a very good country for cheetahs. Very good. You remember earlier I had told you I was going to investigate a place I was told there could have been something on top of a tree. I'm still with the same plan, and I'm heading there now.
So yeah, guys, we just arrived at this beautiful waterhole. It's a pity though, the mountains makes it a little difficult. We were looking to do a hide here like we've done at some of the other dams, like with the Shelby ducks and so on. But where we want to put the hide is just out of reach of the tower being behind the mountain, so we wouldn't be able to do that. But in the meantime, I mean, we've got a beautiful male giraffe looking to go down to drink here. He was standing looking at us for a little while, just baking in the sun. It is quite a beautiful, beautiful setting to be, just daydreaming at. But always a difficult situation for the giraffe going down, not only because of that huge hard pumping of the blood all the way to the brain when they put their heads down, but also when their heads are down like that, their most valued sense is taken away, their sense of sight. So as soon as their head goes down, these guys get really paranoid. So you always see them taking quite some time looking around before they take a little sip, and then also not staying down for long. But yeah, just beautiful. Very happy that I'm not a giraffe having to drink water, though. That is extremely uncomfortable. A really thirsty giraffe by the looks of it. A beautiful male. I mean, yeah, stunning scene, guys. I mean, it's just here. It's difficult to find a spot to look at where it's not going to be beautiful. But I mean, there's definitely places where it's truly spectacular. David and I were just discussing also how the male lions love coming to this waterhole because it's central to their territory, and having it nice and open, they provide for some good photographic opportunities when they come and lie on the dam wall or just out in the open there, especially when you get the reflection and then having the mountains in the background and so on. It's just stunning. Very special area of the reserve, this. Yeah, I just love my job, eh? It's difficult to find a day where you're not in the mood to get up and come out and just be with the animals like this. getting that water out of the nostrils. But yeah, if you have a look at the coloration of the giraffe, I mean, it's never a good idea to look at a giraffe's coloration, to look at, to see whether it's male or female. But in the Kalahari particularly, you'd not often find a giraffe being as dark as this. Genetically speaking, you find the more blondish giraffes, just because it makes more sense for them to be a lighter coloration, to reflect a lot more radiation away from them, and also to blend in with their more sandy backgrounds. We don't have those tall, lush green trees that you find in the Lowveld or further up in southern Africa. So this particular individual is just in his prime, full of testosterone and probably one of the mating males in the area, which is why he is such a pretty guy. But typically you'll find them being a little bit lighter in color in these parts of the world.
There she is. We managed to get another visual. She's been going up and down this fire break. Stunning girl. Just trying to get you to have the best view of her, and we can talk about her when she's a little bit more forgiving. She's almost going to come out on the other side. Let me just... Oh, there we go. And off to the south she goes. Well, I'm glad that we managed to see her. Let's go forward a little bit. Hopefully we'll get another last view. Just through those bushes. Now, she was born in January of 2014. She is a 2-2 female, so she's really easy to recognize. Obviously not so easy to find, though. I'm trying to see if I can get one last look. It makes me so happy. There she is. There she is. Last looks of Tswalu going south.
Finally, we managed to get to that waterhole where we wanted to come search for those wild dogs. Unfortunately, no wild dogs. However, there is a hyena on the side of the bank here. So often you find the hyenas, especially where there's water, they might have a drink and then they'll rest up a little bit, wait for it to cool down, and then start moving off. And there's, at this water, there's quite a bit happening. There's not a lot of animals around the sides, but in the water, there's a few hippos that are constantly it looks like they're chasing each other. So I just want to point off here to the right. It's going to be hard to follow, but we're going to try. So you'll see some of them just breaching, then going down under the water again, and moving down the water and then coming up. So let's see if we can try and pinpoint where the head's going to come out of the water. Slightly more right. That's where I saw them moving now, from where we are. So let's have a look. They were quite curious. They came close to us, and then from there on they decided to move back and headed a little bit more off to our right. So let's see if there's anything that comes out. I see a bit of the water moving there. But hippos, if they do go under the water, they might even spend as long as 6 minutes under the water before they eventually need to come back up and breathe again. Playing hide and seek with us. There's some impala also just at the back of where these hippos are. There was some movement somewhere there. So every time we think we get them, they outmaneuver us in some other way and just disappear. There we go.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome back to your Safari Live here at Djuma. And since we lost that beautiful pair of honey badger, here now we just not far from there find a giraffe. So there seems to be two of them around there, but that's only the visible one that you can see. Looks like still the young male. Looking at this horn, actually, look at them, how thick they are, even though they still look younger. Bald on top, no hair growing in there, so this is how we're able to identify male from female. Seems to be very much alert, with the bird sitting right in there between the horn. So this is an oxpecker again. Helps animal clean off the ticks. Again, you often see them with many of other antelope as well as warthogs and the rhino. It's coming back behind the tree. And that's where we first find it. So it looks like a knopfon tree. It's pretty beautiful. With this new showing up blossom or flowering, sign of the winter hitting us as well. It's the only tree you would see around here with this such a beautiful flowering just before the leaves. Sorry, I just missed the name there. If you could repeat that name. Thanks, Krebs. Krebs want to know whether have I seen giraffe give birth. No, I haven't. But a few friends of mine had experienced or witnessed giraffe giving birth. And the way they explained to me was something that unbelievable. I'm going to start moving forward as I try and explain how, but yeah, giraffe give birth usually either standing up or moving. Usually this is the way of giraffe giving birth, but such a long way for the baby to drop from that height. But drop down safely within a few 15, maybe 20 minutes. That baby able to move around, follow its mother. So it's incredible animals to actually able to do that. It's gonna reposition, get enough look of them there. Giraffe, they mainly prefer stand still. Sometimes, even when they're trying to rest, they can lie down when they want to. But to do that for them, they got to make sure it's safe. Fold these beautiful long legs and they go down. But they're vulnerable when they've done that. So for them to check first whether it's safe or not. It's so important for such a long animal like that. Now, not easy actually to able to stood up immediately. So it comes so much invulnerable to lions. You talk about young giraffe, even packs of hyena could actually make it, can kill it while it's lying down. So So this, I think, is another one. It's not the one we were looking at as we mentioned a tour of them around here. Just looking at the tall animals like that, you wouldn't think they can able to move so fast in running, reaching speed of 50 kilometers an hour when they have to. Mainly when they're trying to get away from the danger. That's where you usually see them reaching that far top speed. I'm just going to try and move again. I'm going to stick around here, so just going to move forward slightly to get a better view. There they are. Look at them. Beautifully.
Look at this. Someone has come to check me out. They came from a whole 30 meters away, bounding through, stick in mouth. Yeah. I'm not sure, but I feel like these might be the two that chased that buffalo away from the herd. Oh, careful, young one. You almost got your trunk in a knot. Young boys, young illy bulls like this are so entertaining. Of course, little calves as well. But these young boys have so much bravado. Yes, redirect it at yourselves. Look at them. They look like they're about 8 years old. Be quiet because you need to listen to all these sounds and the clunking of their tusks as they touch each other. I'm sorry if you occasionally hear me giggle though, because they are funny. Let's just grab a snack mid-fight. Oh, they're so entertaining.
Good afternoon, all sessions at sea.
Oh, the fight's over. That's okay, I still find them incredibly entertaining. Just like children, or adolescent children, they can have some frustration or anger or any type of emotion. And it can be directed at you, and then suddenly it's directed at whoever is similarly aged to them, and they pick a fight with them. It is very entertaining because in a lot of ways, when you watch them, you see so much of your own species. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about elephants, is that somehow they're communicating with you and you're communicating with them, even though there's nothing being spoken. You know, sometimes when I speak to an illy that comes through, especially if it's a big mum and maybe she's a little bit nervous, there's a very practical reason that I do that. One is that she knows that I'm not trying to hide from her. So if I'm constantly speaking, I'm not trying to hide from her. She gets used to the sound of the voice and she thinks, okay, this voice, whatever the behavior associated with this voice, is not a threat at all. But the other reason is that elephants seem to kind of pull it out of you. You want to speak to them. When you see them, and especially when they're close, you just have this feeling of wanting to speak to them. Almost in a way when you see a baby and you want to speak to it, not as in the feeling of it's a baby, but there's this natural, I don't even know what you call, just this natural behavior that just makes you want to speak. And somehow I feel like in some way they may not understand, but they're listening. There's always a great connection to be felt with elephants. And you will know exactly what I mean when you get to see them in person. Even through the camera, you can feel it. Violet Mish, you'd like to know if elephants have growth spurts like humans do, children do. I really don't know. I have seen the occasional particularly long-legged elephant that looks a little bit clumsy. But most of the time they look pretty consistent in their elephant-like shape. The only difference I've seen is, like I said, sometimes there's very long legs on this round body. But I'm not sure if they experience growth spurts. One thing that would be an indication is if we got to see stretch marks, but their whole body looks like stretch marks. And now they're coming towards the roads. That's great. I'm going to stick around with them.
There's a big male warthog that we saw from quite a bit of a distance away, and we thought initially he'll probably just move off once we get closer, but he's so relaxed. See how he's just gone down onto his knees just to get a bit closer to the ground to feed off the grass. But notice the size of his tusks. They are massive, especially now if he picks up his head. And also just look at the light. We angled in such a way that the sun is in between where we are on this warthog. And look at that golden rim on top of his head, and you'll even notice with his legs, see his mouth and a little golden rim over his, the bridge of his nose. But we'll just spend some time here, because if he eventually disappears, we can slowly carry on. But for now, it's just such a beautiful sighting with the light on him. Warren, I agree with you. This is a massive warthog. And for him to be able to get to this size and age, I'm sure he had to fight off quite a few predators. And I'm also sure he's very knowledgeable in the bush and also very bush savvy. Like, he knows exactly what to do and what not to do in order to stay alive. But for now, his main thing is just to be focusing on some food before he eventually goes and settles down in a barrow this evening.
Well, finally, I got to my destination, but I did not go to where the kill is because the kill is in a very open tree, a tree that you call a bosquet. But on my way there, I saw some slight movement. Actually, it's Bungay who is on the camera today who saw movement. And like, David, can you just stop there right and see what we got for you? That is a leopardess, and I'm calling her a leopardess because I've been told by my friend who saw her earlier she could be having a cub or two. Wasn't very sure, but at least he counted one cub. See the yawn? This is so wonderful to see a leopard in the Masai Mara. And not that we don't have them, but we don't see them as often as they are spotted in Juma. The area we are in is definitely not the shepherd male. You all know the shepherd tree male. It's definitely not this one. And the other one, of course, that is a male. This is a female. And we are yet to identify who she is. Now, very shy. My guess is it is still very hot, so she may not be able to come out and go and feed until it cools off. You can see the same bushes I was talking about earlier, the orange-leafed crotons, which are very good in camouflage and being repellent for insects. So many cats, like the lions you saw earlier, will use them a lot. Cheetahs the same. And this time, this leopardess. Who would know there's a leopard here? Many thanks. I am happy with your compliments. And actually, the bigger compliment goes to Bungay. I see the whiskers, if you look carefully there, not knowing what she's chewing, or she's just moving her, mouth, preparing to go for her dinner. What are you chewing? The kill is stashed on top of a tree, and from the look from a distance, it's either a Thompson gazelle or a Grant gazelle. Do you want to walk? Get the carriage and come out of that bush. Are you not happy with something? Yeah, you've been seeing her like trying to do something. Oh yeah, she doesn't look very good. Oops. She's trying to throw up. Oops. I think something just came out of her mouth. We have once in a while seen cats eating grass and wondered, have they changed to vegetarians? But anytime they have an issue with their tummies, oops, she doesn't have a very happy stomach. And what we've seen them do is to cut grass and swallow, and that will always help them to throw up. And we have seen them vomiting, what could be making them uncomfortable. I wish you were a leopardess. You got a fresh kill on top of a tree. You've no reason to have eaten or to eat something that's not right for your tummy. So the direction she is looking at is where the kill is where the tree is. Pajama, we have fewer trees than you would see in Juma or other parts of South Africa because of the formation of the area where we are in thousands of years back. The Masai Mara is in the Rift Valley, and when we had the eruption of the tectonic plates moving, there she goes, we had a lot of lava, and the lava flow covered most of the trees and the vegetation died. So that's the reason why we do not have as many trees as Juma or other parts of South Africa, because the Masai Mara is in the Rift Valley. We'll hold on here a few more minutes and find out if she is going to come out again. But that was cool.
There's a beautiful cow. She actually looks a little rotund. I wonder if she is pregnant. Here you can see them. Oh, you too? You too? Hello. Yes, I see you guys as well. Hi. Hi. That's lovely to meet you. Yeah, and you little one. In this light, walking down the main road, couldn't be happier. Oh, these two. Just enjoy, everyone. It's such a beautiful sighting. Setting sun, youngsters playing, nice big beautiful cows. It's relaxing and it's happiness. Good at it, little one. It's dust bathing in a very random fashion. Sapphire, you'd like to know how big a tusk of an elephant can get? Well, tuskers, those are elephants that have really large tusks. We call them tuskers. Their tusks are longer than 1.5 meters. But tusks can even get larger than that. I'm sure the record is around 1.8 or 2 meters. I'm not entirely sure. But once you surpass that 1.5 meter mark, as opposed to a mask, once you surpass that mark, you are considered a tusker. And those impressive tusks, I'm sure, mean good mating rights as well. Can you hear the breeze? See how everything's lit by that sunlight? You can hear the occasional bit of crunching. There's a stare down happening off to my left between a Burchell starling and a young bull. Now it's an eat off. Again, the starlings following the elephants so that they can pick up any animals, or rather insects, that are flushed out. Sometimes elephants can get quite irritated with birds, and that is particularly funny. They end up flinging their trunks at them, but this one seems to want to leave the starling alone. But are you going to leave me alone? Or are you going to come through and show us just how big and strong you are? See what I mean? I can't help but talk to them. And somewhere in me it feels like they can hear me. Not just as in they hear the sound, which they obviously do, but in the way that your pet hears you. Can you hear that? Here it comes. Curious about us, but I think a little bit more interested in the food.
Well, very exciting stuff happening here this afternoon. We have got 2 Swainson's spurfowls and also a dove that looks like a ring-necked dove or a turtle dove. I have absolutely no idea what they're calling it now, but it's one of those there. Look at the species interaction. Are you going to chase the dove away for drinking all the water? Yep, better. No, I'm just joking. But it's not uncommon for any of these birds, or either of these 2 species of birds, to come down and have a drink, normally in the late afternoon and the early morning. It hasn't actually been that warm today. It's been quite chilly, even though I decided to put on shorts this afternoon. That was a bit brave of me because there's definitely a nip in the air, but that's something that those birds don't have to worry about because they've got feathers to keep them nice and warm. There's something else that was making a noise too. But it's been very, very quiet down here. The little daycare hasn't even come around to say hello. There's been no more elephants, no impala, absolutely nothing this afternoon, which is wonderful. We really love that. What else is there? Saffron, I honestly, I'm not sure. But you've asked if birds can have a double yolk egg and then have twins. I mean, okay, my experience with this is chicken eggs in a frying pan. So they didn't quite make it to hatching, I'm afraid. I don't know. Maybe. I'm trying to think. I haven't even seen a social media video surfacing where, 2 chickens were born out of 1 egg. That would be a tight squeeze in that shell. Honestly, Saffron, I have absolutely no idea, and I'm going to have to do some research. But you know what? There are some fantastic people out here that have access to the interweb, and they are so keen on sharing that information. So remember to hashtag Wild Earth and comment away on the social media. Have you, ever seen twins being born from 1 egg? Let's say of any bird species, probably going to be a chicken, a geese, or a duck, or something like that. A goose, just one. Or have you ever seen a video or read about it? Because I can't say that I ever have. But anyways, these birds over here, they lay rather large clutches of eggs, and their eggs are quite small, much smaller than the normal chicken eggs. So it'd be quite funny to see 2 little ones pop out. I can't imagine that would happen. Because the other question that I have is that who would wear the shell egg hat? Because that happens. If you've ever seen a chicken hatch or a duck hatch, one of them always has a shell on its head. And if there were 2 of them, I can't see how that would work. I'm obviously being completely ridiculous because I have no idea the answer about that. So thank you very much, Saffron, for making me feel very small and reminding me that you can't know everything. But yes, sure. Oh, hi, Bacon says no eggs win. No, not when I'm involved, unfortunately. But I can't believe that these birds are still here drinking. I actually wonder how many mils would probably be appropriate, right? Because I think litres would be a bit too much. Do these birds drink every single day? I wonder if anyone has ever studied that. Also, I'd be very impressed if somebody sat there once and said that, Okay, very cool. Shutterbug, thank you very much. You've said the interweb says, and if it's from Wikipedia, it's probably true. No, I'm just teasing. Sorry, I'm in a mood. I'm allowed to be in a mood today. I'm very silly. But you've basically said that normally what happens is that one embryo will outcompete the other. So thank you very much for that. So I don't think that anyone has seen that, but of course, who knows? Miracles do happen. Right, who else have we got coming down to the dam? Some more spurfowls on their way for a drink. Thrilling stuff, but we're going to sit here waiting in anticipation to see if anything else comes down to the dam.
Beautiful afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Safari Live here at Djuma. Since we just left our giraffe on our way up, just along the road, we experienced something beautiful about tree wisteria. such a beautiful flowers that's showing up already this time of the year, which not most of the tree that does that. And then also there's some bird up there, which is southern yellow-billed hornbill, also feeding on probably the seed or the flower itself of that tree. So a tree that grows so much, indeed, it's beautiful, beautiful trees. And as you can see, some of these big leaves that you can see around this tree, they are from the last spring. So many of the new shoots, you can able to witness them on the far side of the tree, which is the lowest branches over there. You can able to see the new leaves, which is actually from this year, as well as the flowers. Beautiful tree, but indeed they only grow in the bush, so nothing around the villages or anything. If whoever have it, it's well given. So it's something you won't forget. You have to keep that tree growing up strong enough. Make sure you're watering it, but in the winter they're all just gonna shed their old leaves down. Beautiful bark as well, so indeed we're just gonna leave the tree on its own. We keep checking every time, so it's gonna be a lot of leaves coming up soon. It's gonna be beautiful and green, lovely for everyone to sit underneath otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. In a few weeks, I'm sure Andrew, as he says, things will have changed a lot. And I moved and left the leopardess after she kind of sneaked a little bit in the bush. And I thought I'll give her space and wait to see if she's going to go to her kill, because the kill is in a very open area where I can easily go back. And in the process, I found this huge raptor. And I'm sure all of you know it. But because I want to give you a quiz, I won't ask you who it is. You all know it's a Battlia eagle. But I'll ask you, is it a male or a female? Hashtag Wild Earth on Twitter. Let me know. Who do you think it is? Is it a boy or a girl? But I've already told you, it is a Battlia eagle. Fully grown, full colors, so chances are we will not make a mistake of saying, oh, he's a juvenile. But I'm sure you'll be able to know who it is. I'm not going to say, what sex it could be until you let me know. But it's Battlia eagle, beautiful. You can see the orange beak there. You can see the bit of orange. Ellen, you say a female. I'll wait to hear, because once I say a yes or a no, definitely the answer will be out. I'd be happy, Ellen, to hear a few more answers. Dr. Yant, you say it's a male. Very good, correct. It is a boy, it's a male. And the males have that rufous back morph that you see. If you look on his back, you see that like chocolate, the rufous on the back. That's only on the males. The females, that could be cream in color, or a little whitish, off-white, dirty white. That will be the difference between males and females when you see them from a distance. Is one among my favorite eagles after the Marshall eagles. This one's out of the colors. Just look where he is. Very good camera work, which may take us to more food for the leopard, as much as that leopard either got a Grand Gazelle or a Thompson Gazelle. So we'll slowly now turn around to where we left that leopard and see if she might have come out.
These elephants are still having a ball. here on the southern boundary. And so am I. I love when they suddenly stop and you hear silence, because you usually hear them moving through the bush, eating, and then you hear silence, and again back to eating. They're really digging at the moment, trying to get those roots. Mina Moo, you'd like to know if elephants have taste buds like humans? They do. Perhaps their taste is not as complex, but they do have taste buds. The problem with testing for taste is that a lot of the time it's subjective. You get the usual, oh, look at that. Oh, I love this. You get the usual sweet, sour, bitter, salty, all of that, savory, that you can actually test for, but there's so much complexity in between that, and that's so subjective. So it becomes difficult to test for that kind of thing. Oh, look at that little one reaching up too. Now, the thing about taste buds is that the primary use for the tongue is to help maneuver food down, oh, gorgeous, down into your mouth and move it around and actually into your throat. And the taste buds are secondary. Detecting taste is secondary. But taste is also important because it might alert you to a poison. Or in predators, it will alert you to the fact that maybe this food is a little bit off. Maybe it's been too long. And there's a specific taste associated with that. So it's an important detector of what is good for you, but that is a secondary use. How unique it is in the animal kingdom to have a spare limb that you can use while you continue to move. So many animals can't do that. So peaceful. And so very comfortable. We're losing our animals to the south today. They are on the southern side of our southern boundary. You can see it's a main road. You can see the power lines. This is the road that people who are going to the lodges in the northern Sabi Sands would use. And what a treat if you're coming here on safari and you drive through and you're welcomed by a herd of elephants along the main road. Listen to all those sounds. magical. Magical. The sun is starting to set behind a Belanaites tree. But you're going to have to excuse the power line as Theo gets to it. It's so soft and gentle, just like these elephants. Well, they're moving much more south now, and I can just see a few. You can actually just see, I'm going to say 2.5. I'm going to tell you something interesting just before I go ahead with my next plan, and that is to just pop into the den. Last time this was a good time, between 5 and 5:30, and I will tell you that when I was following Sibui, I managed to pass Gwen's den, which is on the junction of the fire break and the southern boundary, and Cheetah Line, that little corner, and June was there, which I found interesting. But we can chat about that in a bit. These elephants are moving south, and I'm going to make my way to the hyena den. Hopefully we'll be lucky.
Right, we're still just looking at the beautiful ripples of the water at Ndlovu Dam. The wind is just ever so slightly picked up. Not much, though. Like a gentle breeze. It can stay like this. Ooh, lots of disturbances on the water surface. But I think it's coming from underneath. I think there's a couple of terrapins, maybe even a few catfish or barbel, whatever you'd like to call them, swimming around there. It'll be interesting if all this water disappears. I might be quite curious as to wade through there and see what creatures we can indeed find. Oh, you can hear some birds coming down. Mina Moona, I haven't ever heard of oxpeckers spreading any diseases. In case you don't know what an oxpecker is, just for our new viewers, an oxpecker, we get two different species, the red-billed and the yellow-billed oxpeckers. These are birds, and they're normally seen dangling off of animals. The bird that you're looking at is not an oxpecker, but it's a bird, so I suppose it's still relevant, hey, Seb? It's got a heartbeat. So those are the two species that we get, and essentially what those birds do is that they remove parasites from their hosts. Now, Minamu, yeah, I can't say that I've ever heard of them. I mean, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know, I suppose they are, I don't know what other diseases that are spread from birds to mammals, but that would directly affect, I suppose, an oxpecker and then to its host. I'm not sure. You guys are stumping me on the questions today. All I know is that, of course, oxpeckers are vitally important because they often stop the spread of tick-borne diseases to various animals, but whether I haven't come across any literature that suggests that oxpeckers spread diseases to their hosts. Again, something to add to the list, though, to research and see if there is any new information. Dove, what are you up to? Just trying to navigate all the dry mud there. It's quite difficult for them because it's not a flat surface, as all the elephants have been walking through there.
Sometimes doves will just keep moving, and where we were when we were watching the Tswalu eagle, we also saw some orange-bellied parrots with Bungay, but they flew away very, very quickly, and Bungay is the gentleman on the camera, and he told me, forget about the parrot, let us look at the sunset. Very dark clouds. at the western horizon. It's quite some time since I've watched some sunset since we came back to the bush from the village. I'll just spend a couple of seconds quietly for you just to try and picture that and get it. Internalize the clouds and the sun. They're going down. It's not sunset as yet, but let's see what happens in the next few seconds. That's very, very cool. The reason I've stopped here, apart from seeing the sunset, is to chance and wait and see if that leopard is going to come. And I'm going to sit here a few more minutes.
Ooh, that's exciting. A leopard in the Mara. Well, finally, we've also got something with spots in the form of 2 hyena cubs. Hello, Trouble 1 and Trouble 2. And these are actually the 2 cubs we saw the other morning. And so they've moved away from the main den that the Pridelands clan was hanging around. I suspect that they were 2 of the individuals that we have been seeing. But Mom takes them on runarounds now every evening. And then when Mom is not around, they go on their own little walkabouts, as they're doing right now. So whether it's actually because they're thirsty and they want to come down for a drink. We had one here the other night, and there was a big elephant bull, and they sort of just had this really weird standoff, but it wasn't an aggressive standoff. They just both stared at one another. Or if they're just curious, and maybe they heard the giggles coming from all the students in camp and thought, oh, wonder what jokes they're telling. It does look like they want to come down for a drink of water, though. So they haven't moved too far away from the main den. They're actually only a few hundred meters from here. There's sort of a nice big crest and lots of termite mounds. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Pridelands clan is actually just spread out and moved their den slightly, because it looks like the elephants have destroyed the main den. They've pushed a few trees over, but there's still lots of tracks going in and out. But maybe they're just curious and investigating. But I don't know if they're spending too much time there. Very nervous. Very nervous coming down towards the water's edge. Yeah, they are naughty, these 2. I mean, they shouldn't be doing big wandering arounds like they are now. Because, I mean, I know they're just a few hundred meters away from where they're supposed to be, or where I'm assuming they were left. But, you know, they just can't help themselves. But they're listening. Yes, you mustn't get into any trouble. You're going to fall over. You can see why even that dove was struggling to navigate. These 2 hyena cubs are also finding it difficult to walk on all that sort of mud. You've gone down onto your knees. No, man, it's not high. I don't know what they're doing. Look at that one on the right-hand side. Oh, what are you doing? That is not how you're supposed to drink water. It's drinking water out of a footprint. It's obviously where the elephants go and stand. The mud wallow is not too far off. And it's going to drink the dirtiest water. There's probably second-hand trunk water from an elephant, but it's terrified. Very, very nervous of having a lap of water. I wonder if there isn't something in there that's maybe moving around that's making it so nervous. Oh, that's very funny. Oh, hyenas, they do make you laugh. But hyenas are also fond of wallowing mud. Let us not forget that, although normally it's on a warmer day. But as we get into summer and the rainy season starts, it's not going to be uncommon for us to come around the corner and see a hyena plopped in a little mud wallow of sorts, trying to keep nice and cool. But that's something that these little ones are going to have to learn from their mum.
We decided to come back to that pride that we had this morning, and we were so rewarded as we got here. All of the members of the pride started getting up, and they're all moving at the moment. See, there's the dominant male following the one female, and then of course that white male just at the back. I just noticed that what he'll do is what's called a Fleming grin. So one of the females urinate against the bush. He might just pick up his head and then wrinkle his nostrils and his lips. So that's just a way of testing it to see if she's ready to mate or not. I'm not sure if that's the female that they were mating with earlier, but let's see if he turns. Remember we said wrinkling the nose as well as the... So basically, like just under the bridge of the nose, there's an organ called the Jacobin's organ. So as he smells, the scent runs through that organ, and that will be able to tell him, listen, is she ready to mate? If not, and also tell a lot about that particular female. I haven't seen the lioness with the young cubs, but they might be with the rest of the pride. But have a look at this. I'm going to turn the vehicle around so you can have a look at the sun setting behind us as well as these lions moving. So it's such a beautiful sight. I'm just going to maneuver my way around. So it's not too far. The sun's right here. So I'm just going to turn around just so that everyone can see this here. Now, just have a look. Now we might just find this big Ross male and one of the other younger males move past as we focus on the sun. It's not going to be long before we see them moving out. There they are. So that looks like one of the young males, but that bigger male will probably be there soon. Walking into the sunset.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, finally she has come out, and if you look at her body language, you can tell she is one very nervous cat, and they'll try to be as soft as they can. Either she's not very used to seeing vehicles or people, but look at the face, and she's looking at me right on the face, and she just turned, and where she's looking at is where she has touched her kill. She's very nervous. I do not know why. And then she retreats very quickly in the thickets. I do not know the name of this leopardess, but I'm sure at one point she's going to come out and eat her kill. She lays down there. And there she is. So we'll need to have a closer look on her face much later on and maybe be able to identify her. But you can tell she's very, very shy. So just hold on a few more minutes before we lose the light and see what happens.
Are we? So guys, we've just come across this beautiful male and female lion. And as you can see, they are liking each other very much. We spent most of the afternoon tracking them. We'll reposition quickly now. But as you can see, always an emotional thing for a male and a female mating. Quite a lot of growling and scratching and clawing and all of that being involved. You can see the male just trying to establish his dominance, showing the female that he's the boss, which will make her a little bit more attracted to him. But yeah, what a stunning thing to get bumped on in the road. We initially picked up the male's tracks and was following that, and just about 200 meters back in the road we started seeing the female's track as well. And yeah, stunning, guys. I mean, with the lions that we have here, the Kalahari lions, they're particularly large in body size, as well as with the males. You'll see that the manes typically are very impressive. We'll move a little bit now, as soon as we've finished here, to just get a good look at the male as well, if they don't move themselves. But physically, they are huge lions, these both male and female. You know, being in the sand the whole day, I can promise you the sand is finer and looser, almost softer than beach sand. So having to move in that constantly is like being in a gym the whole day. So muscle-wise, they're huge. They're massive cats. And when we get a little closer to them, we'll have a look at their paws. You know, when you're walking in the snow, you need those snowshoes, and these guys really do as well. Huge paws. As we were tracking this male, David, Lauren, and I were discussing that one front paw in particular is just humongous. But yeah, stunning female. This one looks like one of the Southern Pride females, and one of the younger individuals of the adult females that we have in the Pride. So it could most likely be the first time that she's really ready for mating and to produce cubs. So very exciting times lying ahead. As we know, one of the other individuals in the Southern Pride has already had cubs, which is about 3.5 months old now. But always special to find a male and a female mating. It's not often that they allow you to see that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go a little closer and see if we can't see the male a bit better. Almost like here, hey? Better for you. Look at that beauty. So Sky just asked whether there's that much more food for the Tswalu lions that allows them to grow larger. And Sky, no, it's not a matter of food. I mean, if you look at someone that constantly gets to the gym, they can eat the same amount of food as someone that doesn't go to the gym, and they're also physically going to be larger. So yes, genetically speaking, the larger individuals do survive a little bit better, so their genes will get passed on. So frame-wise, you'll find that they are a little bit larger than what you'd find, like, let's say, in Kruger. But the sheer size of their muscles has nothing to do with food. That the amount of food that they get in is determined by how well they hunt. Now that you can see those huge front paws of that male lion, you can just see that snowshoe effect that they have. And then going into that mane of theirs, typical about the Kalahari lion, to have that black mane. But yeah, Sky, to come back to your question, it is not necessarily about their food. Obviously, they need food to have energy to burn, to build their muscles. But it's more the factor of them being in the sand the whole day. physically just exerting themselves a lot more and building more muscle than what you'd need for lions in, like, let's say, the Lowveld or other areas in South Africa where the substrate is not as harsh. So the sheer size of their body is genetic, and then also the fact that they have to basically walk through the snow-like sand constantly. But yeah, just a stunning setting, eh?
The whole pride is slowly moving towards this area where we are now. So there's a few members that have moved onto this bit of an open area, but now we're still waiting for the others. It sounded that I could hear some of the lions further or into the block giving these low contact calls, just like oop, oop. But these ones just maneuvered themselves here now. They're listening out. What I'm hoping for is like that mother with the young cubs. Eventually they'll also join up, as well as the other members. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can see here. 3 where we're looking at now, and another one that's just closer to us. Ian, I'm not too sure if they're able to frown. It sometimes looks like it does, especially just before yawn. Might look like they have, or just after yawn, they might have a bit of a frown face. But I'm not too sure. If you look at those, it might look like they are frowning, but I'm not entirely sure if that's what they're actually doing. But if you look at the one right in front of us, it looks like that one might be frowning. Oh, I can hear one sounding. It sounds like there's one wanting to roar. So let's quickly head across to Tswalu.
Okay, guys, are we live? Okay, so we just had a bit of action. It would seem like the female, the youngster, is playing a little hard to get. You know, when she constantly comes and flirts with the boy, and then just as he gets excited, she gives him a growl and then goes and lies in the same spot. So it could be just a bit of inexperience or so, you know, some jitters that's just getting to her. Her body's telling her to do something, and then her mind is saying something else. So it could be that. You can also see they're starting to yawn. So she's really getting ready to getting active. But I think the male is not going to take much more of this. He's gonna get frustrated at a point. But yeah, just stunning. Yeah, no, of course. But you know, it's good to keep the men on their toes. A little bit of teasing keeps you in the game, I suppose. And I mean, guys, it's for a female lion, it's something to get used to, especially that first time, to really go into the mating ritual. As I said earlier, it's quite an emotional time and quite a painful time for the female to really go through a mating process. So I can imagine that she's, well, teasing at first and then a little bit jittery to really go through with the process.
At times, it takes some time for the decision to come for mating. And I just left the area where we were seeing that the thickets, just to give her more space between it and the kill. But I thought I'll just stop here for a couple of seconds to show you where she has touched her precious kill. What she got up there is what we call a grand gazelle. So to say, she is a very good mama to bring down a grand gazelle. Grand gazelle are quite big gazelles. I'm sure you all know the Thompson gazelles, the food that's always fed mainly by cheetahs. Grand gazelles, maybe almost twice as much in terms of weight and size, bigger than the Thompson gazelles. So that's what she has on that tree. It's called a Bosii or Boskia tree. And must come and have a grab of it once everybody leaves this area. So what you're trying to do is to encourage people keep a long distance away from the kill and also from her so that she may come. And if it's true, what my friend told me, she got a cab or two, and I think she's definitely due to come and start eating dinner early. So what I want to do is just move a little bit, maybe another 20, 40 meters, and from where we shall be, we'll turn the car backwards, and we'll have her in the thicket she is in, and the kill, on the way, and cross fingers before darkness comes that she's going to show up.
I really hope that that leopard managed to get to that carcass so David can see them. So earlier on we had the whole pride roaring, and now they're starting to join up. So if we spend some time here, we just never know if we'll be lucky enough to hear it again. But there's the young cubs joining up. What I want to do is just listen to the different sounds. Listen to this female as she's moving closer to us. Listen to the cubs as they might groan. So early on when they were roaring, you could hear all the lions having this deep roar, like a ooh, and then the young cubs you could hear through the bush, just like ow, ow. Just this moan, but still wanting to be part of the pride calling.
Yeah, guys, so you can see the female is rolling around on her back. She was really, really teasing him now, up to the point where he almost thought he had it, and then she jumped up and ran away. So definitely in the mood for keeping this guy guessing. But we all thought this was the one now. Yeah, you can see maybe she's going to try again, or just move to another area where it's a little more private. Not that they would care about us being here. That's not going to be a determining factor. I think she's just checking to see if he's going to follow now. So we had a question now, would he hurt her when she refuses to mate? And from what I've seen, no, he wouldn't. During the mating process, from Tom, Didn't catch your name there the first time. The question was from Tom. Would he hurt her when she refuses to mate? And the answer is not that I've seen yet. Typically, the females determine when there is going to be mating and when not, and the males, they have to go with it, whether she's in the mood, and when she is in the mood, then he is just a very happy camper. The female, however, can be responsible for hurting the male quite a bit after mating, purely because of the fact that when the male finishes his thing, it's quite painful for the female, and she likes to take her frustrations out on the male. So he gets a slap or two every now and again, or even a bite. If we do get to see them doing the deed, you'll find that the male typically grasps her with his mouth just here on the scruff of the neck to put her in what we call a catatonic state, so a little bit paralyzed, so that she doesn't move too much while he's busy. But then as soon as he lets go, he knows he needs to jump, because then she's going to come at him most of the time. But no, the male wouldn't necessarily hurt the female, from what I've seen, if she's not in the mood. Yeah, there's a couple of comments coming through about him needing to buy her flowers. That would work, except for we don't really have a lot of flowers in the Kalahari at the moment. In about a month or so after our first rains, that would probably be the go-to move for this boy. At the moment, he needs to just rely on his beauty, that beautiful big mane, and then his intimidation factor, not necessarily to the female, but to everyone in the surrounding. Having that big dark mane is already attractive enough for the females. That dark coloration on the mane is going to drive them crazy. It's a sign of dominance, which is good for them. But at the moment, the flowers are a little out of stock here at Tswalu. So that's going to be a difficult thing for him to do. Maybe chocolates. But it would seem like there's a little bit of hard to get coming from both sides. If I was the lady, I wouldn't enjoy the male enjoying the view that we're enjoying at the moment so much. I would want him to be running after me, so it could be, well, we'll see who wins at the end. However, in this particular case, I think she's going to get what she wants.
So finally, more action down at the dam in the form of buffalo. There were 3, but now there are 2, and soon there will be none, because they've already had a drink. No wallowing today, strictly no wallowing, and off they go to probably find the rest of the bachelor group that I think they're a part of. Although there's so many buffalo around at the moment, it's been really, really good to see so many. I know for a few years in the Sabi Sand, especially up in the north, it was, a real treat to see buffalo. So I've been enjoying this thoroughly. Oh, shame you've lost the bristles to your tail. That is so unfortunate. I wouldn't want to wish that upon my worst enemy if you were an animal. Hey, that tail is so important. For me, I have a guarri bush. That's the version of my tail, and use that to swat all the flies. I'm so sorry, boy. But you keep waggling. Waggling? Waggling is not a word. Wagging. But we can make it a word, hey? I think you're allowed to do that. You can just add it to the dictionary. Waggling. When a buffalo with no strands of hair on the edge of his tail moves it from side to side. There we go. Ah, goodness. And there they go. The trio. Not going anywhere very quickly. Why do you look like you had a limp there? But maybe he just stood into a little hole. We really are due for a cat sighting. We are due for a leopard to come around, or even Lagatha, the lone lioness. But I haven't seen her or her tracks for a very long time, funny enough. I don't know where she's gone, but she does do these disappearing acts, and you can see that the light is now starting to fade. It's almost completely gone, I'm afraid. And our hyenas ran away. They drank in a very strange way, and then they darted off over the dam wall. I assume they went back home or to go and investigate somewhere else. But very, very, very little happening on Pridelands today, but that's fine. The animals deserve a day off because tomorrow is supposed to be beautiful.
I hope that I find a chameleon. I'm here by Gallagher Pan. I just checked out the pan. Nothing to report. Seems even the lapwing that has called the pan home has tucked in for the night. I did check out the den. Nothing happening there. Just thought for a moment I'd missed a chameleon there. The temperature is starting to change, so you are going to see, or you should at least see, more of them at the edges of the branches, which is where we get to see them or get to find them most often, because that's when they're most visible. So, wish me luck for a last-minute chameleon.
Hopefully she gets that last-minute chameleon. We'll wish her the best of luck. We managed to move around, so the lions were heading down towards the river. So we went all the way down to the river to come and have a look at them. Now I can see it looks like one of the cubs. So from here, see there's this lioness left of the screen. Now just above that one there, looks like the cub is standing on the wall. Wonder how he's going to get down. Oh, and it just looks like the young male that's up there, the female is already down. So let's just take some time with him and see where is he going to move around to get down to the rest of the pride. All the others are coming down already. So see, it might even be Mom that's lying down on this side, just wanting to see when is this little one going to come down. Luckily, there's some other lions moving at the top, so they'll be able to see that. But it's just been such an incredible afternoon all over, and with these lions, I can just imagine from here eventually they'll head down. There's not, like, from here there's an area where they can go and drink water. And who knows where they're going to be tomorrow morning. But just from all of us, we want to wish all the viewers a happy day, and then hopefully we'll see you with our next drive.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to and beyond Ngala this morning, where we have just come across a very large herd of buffalo. And as we can see, there's one with a very big scar on his back. And we also have some lions calling in the distance. And this morning, we are hoping to find those lions.